Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Diana Minotti Fine Art Antique and Collectibles show, a day in the life of an estate appraiser and liquidator. It is Diana's Treasures. I have with me my co-host and my husband, Perry Mitrano.
Yes, that's me. I'm here. Thank you so much. And it's a great show today. I'm
Well,
excited.
we have a very special guest. It is my mother for Mother's Day, Carol Minotti.
Hi,
How are you?
happy to be here.
So she's kind of a celebrity, you know. I don't know if you remember that show back in the day when we were in New York. I took my mother out for her 50th birthday on the West Side Highway on World Yacht, and there was a show on HBO called Dream On, and his secretary's name was Toby, and everyone thought my mother was the actress, and we got free drinks and free lunch everywhere we went.
And people hiding behind places to see it, get a look at me. Oh my God.
So whenever the waitress would come over, I'd say, "All right, we'll talk about that with the producer."
Well,
We had a lot of
I
fun.
guess I should tell them where we are. We're located at 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right here in Palm Coast, Florida, in Flagler County. 32137 if you're driving down on 95 and want a place to come by and take a look at our fine art, antiques, and collectibles. We're also, you can check us out on the web at dianafineart.com, and you can look at all of the rest of our YouTube and our eBay and Poshmark and all of our other platforms that we sell on.
Yes, you can also sign up for the newsletter on dianafineart.com. So we were talking yesterday, Mom, and I said to you, "What is the how did Mother's Day even come about?" And we did a little research, and apparently it was in 1905 that a woman named Anna Reeves Jarvis had lost her mother, and she wanted to honor her mother and all mothers. And by 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a bill recognizing her ideas, and it became a national holiday, which was to be celebrated every second Sunday in May. So that is how it's a United States, how we celebrate it here. But um, going back to ancient Greece and Rome, the Greek honored Rhea as mother of the gods. She was the symbol of female fertility and motherhood. And in the Roman tradition, it was Cybele. She was the Roman goddess of the Great Mother, and there was festivals commemorating motherhood back then. I think, though, undisputably the mother of all mothers is the Madonna. And I have, this is not for sale. This is my personal collection. But do you want me to hold it up here? This is hand painted on ivory with an ivory frame of the Madonna and Child. And this is one of my absolute favorite. I had to bring it. I absolutely love this piece.
Well, while we're on the topic of mothers, this is, if there was a vending machine to buy your mother-in-law, this would be the lady I would buy. It would be A1. You put the coin in, and you press the button, and my mother-in-law would pop out. This would be the person that you'd want, because she's just been a wonderful person. We know each other over 25 years, and so, I mean, you can't say enough when you have good in-laws, and my father-in-law too, but very unique. And thank you very much. And I wish I could invent a vending machine,
Aw,
find more
thank
like
you.
you. So
That's so sweet.
So, Mother, why don't you show us one of your favorite collectibles as
Okay, years ago, I went into the store, to the gallery, and I saw these little tiny plates, and they come in color, beautiful colors, or just clear glass, and they've been around since the 1900s. Okay, and what the reason was for these plates back then was wealthy families always set the table with beautiful um, tablecloths, and not to get it soiled with anything because the tea didn't have handles at that time. they would put them on these little tiny plates. And they first came out with the clear glass. They were in molds, and they came out with clear glass with pictures or circles or flowers. And then they came out with the colored, which are beautiful. Is cobalt blue and green. I have pink. I have all kinds of colors that are just so gorgeous. I love them. And they did have a purpose in those days, but now they're just my collection. So I have about 25. And one thing about collecting, you don't have to have a collection of thousands of dollars. You can just find something that you really, really enjoy and love looking at and have it in your home. And so, of course, I had to go out and buy a cabinet to put them in. But, this is how it goes. And the other thing that I fell in love with at the gallery was this little vase. It's Bakelite, and it's from Northern Ireland, and it's just so gorgeous. It's very glossy. Uh, it's the pure white, and I have a lot of white and purple in my home, so it goes so wonderful. So that too is in one of my cabinets.
So if you haven't been to my mother's house, we call it cherubitis because she loves cherubs and she has cherubitis. There's cherubs
And
everywhere.
angels, and angels.
Angels, cherubs, booties.
That's my collection: angels, cherubs.
But I have to remember back, I was thinking about this back in the day. You have been creative your entire life. I remember as a kid, you had the wools and yarn shop.
Yes, I did.
And you used to teach knitting and macrame and
Yes, I did.
crochet
Yes.
and wood burning and
Speaking of that, let's do. Well, we're in show and tell now. If you haven't figured it out, Mark, is that visible? Okay. So this is 1861, and someone knitted this, which obviously someone's mom or grandmom.
there's stockings.
And,
Wow.
and they
1860s.
put them in a frame, and they're in mint, absolutely gorgeous mint condition.
They actually know the name of it's Elizabeth Eppelman.
So
they actually
so
have-
somebody's mom did these, and as that coincides with this, and it's amazing of work, and they actually did such a good job. They actually put like little pads in the heel and the toe, which wears out the most, and stuff like that. Okay.
They don't make things like they used to.
No, not at all. So when should we move on to a little bit more to show and tell?
Well, I just wanted to say that when I was a kid, my mother had a shop. And so she was always creating and making things and throughout, even today. I mean, your latest thing was beading. You did lots of jewelry, but you did knitting and crocheting. I remember the wood burning, hook rugs. Remember the hook rugs? We had
Yes, I do.
lots of hook rugs. So
Well, you're an artist too, so you got the creativity obviously from mom. So
Yes.
the gene is in there, mom. That's where.
Yeah, I think she did a little bit.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about this piece? Because I love that.
This
I
one's
have one
kind
at
of
home.
eerie. Actually, I don't know how to say it, but it's got a hole in the top.
It's a hair receiver. And what mothers would do was take the locks of hair of loved ones and you would tuck it in there and you would keep it. I mean,
Good
today
luck.
it was, and if you, sometimes in the old Victorian jewelry, if you flip it over, if it's a portrait,
Yes.
there would be locks of hair in the back of it. So that was a way of commemorating someone.
And speaking of hair, we have this is sterling silver,
That's an Art Nouveau hairbrush.
and the bristles are
Probably horsehair.
yeah. So mom would brush your hair,
Yes, you
pull
had
the
to-
hairs out and stuff them in there.
That's true. But it was locks of hair that you would cut and put in there.
That too.
Back then, there was so much thought into everything they did.
Well, women were, in society, it was the hand-painted bowls and plates. Women would that would show your stature, and you would also do embroidery. The samplers would have the letters of the alphabet. the numbers.
I'd like to talk about these mirrors, being that we're still in the Victorian era a little bit. Oops. Oh, we have a special guest calling in.
What?
Yes. Joseph,
Hey, Dad.
we are on the radio show. Would you like to say something to your mother and your grandmother?
Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
On a speaker.
Yeah, go
Hi,
ahead.
Joe.
Hi.
Joe.
I just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you.
Wanted to wish you guys a Happy Mother's Day on the while I could.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much for calling, baby.
We got to get you on the show.
All right, thanks, Joe. All right,
Love you.
bye.
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 All right, that was my surprise of the day, in case you haven't figured it out.
Now get back to the mirrors.
So the mirrors, this is a Victorian mirror. This is sterling plate. I don't know if you could see it. It's kind of ornate. Am I in?
Well, that's also Art Nouveau. If you show the back of it, you can see how it's raised. When you incise into metal, it's engraven. When it's pushed out, that's repoussé. And
Okay.
that is a beautiful, beautiful mirror.
So,
I love
so this
that.
is a repoussé, right?
Yes, it is.
Did I say it right?
Repoussé.
With a New York accent.
Yes.
Okay, and then here, this is interesting stuff. This stuff here, this is Bakelite. All right, so these are Bakelite was about 1900, and they invented this stuff, and it was used for basically industrial purposes. And this is the precursor of plastic, and of course it changed the way it looks. But today Bakelite is very sought after. They don't make it anymore.
Very
And-
collectible. At the gallery, we have
Oh.
a checker set and a checkers set of Bakelite medallions.
Yeah, and they're expensive too.
They're
quite a bit.
very collectible, but you can get Bakelite in the 50s. They handmade those designer handbags were Bakelite, and they're very collectible. In fact, that little purse there, I think you have a Bakelite handle on it.
Yes, this is an interesting item too. Mike,
Oh, I love that.
You got
Isn't that
anything to
pretty
say
for
about
I
this?
love
spring?
that.
That would be nice for Mother's Day. To
That
go
is
out
nice.
So this
Very
is- yeah.
pretty.
to brunch.
Bakelite handle. What is the material?
That's crocheted.
Really?
Let the crocheter look at that.
Okay, hold on.
That is beautiful. I love it. Very nice.
So is that something easy to crochet, Mom, or is that something that you really have to be an experienced crocheter?
Well, you have to be really into it. These are beautiful stitches.
So speaking of crocheting, look at this thing. This is sterling with a mesh chain purse.
Well, that is Whiting and Davis, and they're a company that's called Chainmail, and they began that practice in 1876. So you're talking 130 years. Those purses are very, very collectible, and it's hard to find them in excellent condition. We have at the gallery just a handle, but this is completely intact with its handle and with the chain. That's lovely.
Okay.
And they proceeded throughout the years. Now, this is a little bit more.
Well, first of all, I'd like to know
That's
what,
also Whiting
what
and
can you
Davis.
fit in this? Like how do you
You open it.
what
You
is
open it. You
How
open
does
it.
it work?
You open it.
Oh, okay.
Only ladies know that.
So, what are you going to put in here? You're going to put a lipstick and your dance card,
Well, back then they didn't have cell phones and wallets and all this other stuff.
maybe a key, maybe.
Let me open it one more time for everybody.
I just put the top on. That's beautiful. So it's an expandable. That is Whiting and Davis, and it's gold mesh, and with an expandable top. That's beautiful.
I'll tell you, you go out for the evening with that,
That's
nobody
cute.
will have that bag.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we have a few more things here from the world of ladies' purses, which you can find at our shop for Mother's Day.
Okay, now
Okay.
that is a seed bead purse, and those were done. I'd say early 1900s, the 1920s. That sort of has a Art Nouveau going into an Art Deco style. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, I couldn't fit my cell phone in that, but
Very lovely.
Okay, so
when I got married, I had an antique bag.
What do you call this? This is like a little coin
a little
purse,
coin
maybe?
purse.
Oh, now that's sweet.
What year would you establish?
Very
it?
early 1900s,
Wow.
1920s.
Right. So remember, we have this. So if you want to get your mom or your grandmother quite an interesting gift, we're right here, 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right here in Palm Coast. All right. Tell me, these are compacts? What are these, Diana?
Yes. So when you're looking for compacts, they're usually stamped on the bottom. The highly sought out ones are from England. You'll also find some that are stamped France or Paris. That one's pretty. Let me see that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a transfer wear, though. This isn't hand painted. So this is transfer wear on a scalloped. Um, it is. I think this is Stratton.
What is transferware for those that don't know?
Okay, so when you're looking at porcelains and pottery or any type of object, you want to take a loop to it and see, is it actually hand painted, or is it? You'll see lots of little dots. Was it printed? So when it's printed, it's transferware, and that became during the turn of the century, during the industrial era. Instead of having somebody sit and hand paint each and every object, they were able in a factory to print it on the item. So this is printed, but it's beautiful, and it's lovers in the garden, and then there's two putti or angels surrounding them. That's very pretty.
Let me show it one more time. I
This
have
is
a
Miss
very
Edith's.
interesting one.
I have to say, Miss Edith, you have a lovely collection. I've been so fortunate to be representing you and selling your items.
Now this one too.
That needlepoint?
It seems like some kind of needlework.
It's not
on the top of
tapestry.
that.
I think it's needlepoint.
What do they do that and then they
And
cover
then they,
it up?
yeah, you would do the
Very
piece
nice.
on a loom, and
Very
then you would
nice.
apply it. They probably stamp it in. Yeah, that's that.
And
That's very pretty.
and this one is metal. Hold on. And it's an Elgin American. It's called, and I guess you put your
That's your blush.
blush on there. I don't know if you could see that. And then but here's the cool part. It says mother on it.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. So again, this is in our shop at a reasonable price. You can come and get something special. That's old. What year would this
Well,
be? 20s.
maybe. And you have to remember, like, people collect compacts. They collect vintage handbags. They'll collect some of the pottery, like you collect the Bakelite. We also have a lot of Lennox. That's another compact.
And I want to just interject here and just say to the men that are listening to this, no, it's wonderful for you to go into the store, the gallery, and you'll see Perry there. And it's man on man. You don't have to feel you're going to be pushed to buy anything or anything like that. And if you can't find something that you think your mom or your wife might want, you can always get a gift certificate and let them come in and buy something for themselves.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do a lot of gift certificates.
Yes.
All right. Let's do these beautiful porcelains. These are.
Okay, so that is Royal Dalton, and those are English. And on the bottom, if you want to show the stamp mark, there's going to be an HN. HN stands for Harry Nixon. He was the originator and designer of these early figurines.
That's a beautiful piece.
Isn't that pretty?
What year would you say Iadro?
Well, I got to look it up because by the number, HN number 1, and then it continues 2, 3, 4. I mean, now
Very nice. That's beautiful.
It's in the thousands, and they bring back sometimes a popular mold.
And that's nice for somebody that's pregnant and his wife is pregnant and then he wants to give something with the baby
No,
and the
that is
mother.
pretty.
That'd be a lovely gift.
This
here's
is
a-
also Royal Dalton.
Yes, that's Nana. So we have nanas, we have grandmothers, we have mothers.
Grandmas don't look like that anymore. I hope
You
not.
certainly don't.
No, and they don't. and they don't drive a Daytona, Dodge,
A Hemi.
Hemi.
No, sorry.
If you
Mama's
see-
always had a cool car.
If you see the yellow with the black stripe zipping past you, okay, all right.
Easy
And
now.
if the
We don't
sher-
want the sheriff to
If
pull
the
her
sheriff's
over.
listening, it's my mother-in-law.
Mom always had a cool car though. At senior day, I didn't take my car to school. I took her car to school. She had the what was the Burt Reynolds Bandit car? She had
Trans Am.
She had the Trans Am with the T tops
You
and
got it.
special made the hood ornament instead of the black
The gold.
the gold.
It was
You had blue
right.
on black.
Right. Blue.
That was really special.
I was the only one with the blue bird.
This is Lennox also. This is a beautiful little gift for mom and grandma. You could put a little flower in there, and it's Lennox. You can see on the bottom.
Beautiful.
You know.
That is pretty. In fact, when you pulled that, I said, "No, that's not Lennox. That looked Bavarian."
Yeah, it looked good.
But it is.
And then I have like a couple of very interesting things here to do. Did you show that plate?
No, we have collectible plates, which, if you don't have room, you could put it on the wall. This has on the back not only the information about it, but it's very handy. It already has the holder, so you could just put a little nail on the wall, or you can put it on a plate stand. Or some of the curios have a plate rack, so you can sit it in the rack. But that's beautiful, mother and daughter.
Did you show this already?
Yeah.
I was talking about, the hand painting on porcelains, women showing their,
And this is a powder jar.
yes. And that also has a celluloid top.
Beautiful. Very nice.
I got
You
it,
could
Mark?
put trinkets, you could put your jewelry. I mean, you could put powder. I have a powder jar in both the
Is that amber
in the
color?
master bathroom. It's like a taupey,
Yeah. And
Pretty.
The glass. Is
very,
that
very in
amber?
right now. Yes, and the amber is also, we sell a lot of the amber. It's in the front window at the shop. That was Perry's pick. This
So what? This blue, right? I know. I mean, I remember as a kid.
it's like a Wedgwood blue.
Like Wedgwood was really big back in the '60s. Like to get Wedgwood was a gift that people got for
Yeah,
weddings.
that was a
right?
big thing.
Right. But this here is pretty cool. Listen carefully. I'm going to move it here.
Yeah. So it's a powder, and when you take the top off, it's a music box.
It's a music box. Pretty cool. All right. And I know my mother had, this in my home too, and she always prided herself on this. And her girlfriend Lena, who was a Holocaust survivor, always loved this product.
Having a music box.
Always. Okay. And this one I thought was funny because and that's so funny. But back those days, the era of that family, they were smokers. Everybody smoked. They smoked. Everybody smoked. I don't care what they were doing. The doctor smoked. You go in the doctor's office, you sit down. They hand each other cigarettes and they talk to you about your health. All right. So this was an ashtray with a baby shoe. And this is for Bill, whoever Bill was.
Well, it was
Okay.
probably Bill's shoe.
It's Bill's shoe, but they gave an ashtray. All right. And then,
You actually got a belly laugh out of Mark. He is really trying to control himself right now.
and then, of course, I brought a rolling pin, a vintage rolling pin, because all mothers would either throw their shoe or threaten you with the rolling pin. And I'll never
wooden
forget
spoon. The wooden spoon.
The wooden spoon. The wooden spoon. I broke the spoon. But I'll never forget the time my mother grabbed this thing and said, "You." And I ran out the door. She threw it at the door and broke. I don't want to talk about how much more damage was done, but I could tell you this: it was quite a bigger pin than this one. Okay, because made raviolis back those days.
Well, we do have quite a collection of rolling pins.
Yeah, we do.
At the gallery.
Yeah, we have some.
And
All right, we're down to just a few minutes left here to wrap up. Let me open up this one. Okay, so this is Diana. Go through this real quick, and I'll flip through pictures.
okay, so those are cabinet cards, and they began in the 1880s. It was a form of photography. You have to remember when people couldn't afford to have their actual family portraits done in oil and sit with an artist. you could have a photographer come, or you would go to their studio actually, and you would
Yeah.
get pictures, whether it was for births, weddings.
There's a photographer card, and
Um,
somebody's mother on it. And this is
Yeah.
black, so this
Here,
is
give me some of
Victorian
them.
period.
Some of these they're just really beautiful. We have a collection of cabinet cards. They're black and white, and they're usually printed and put onto a thick, like an oak tag.
And you could see the photographer. You know, back then that was a big business. Like if you were a
Look at that.
photographer, you were a big deal. You know.
Look
back
at that,
then.
though, a whole family.
Yeah.
I just love looking at these.
Somebody's mom here.
The furniture that they're sitting in is Victorian chairs, and the hats and the dresses, and
Did they keep them in
Clothing.
boxes like this, or were they?
No, they
put
were
in
putting
frames?
cabinets. They were in
Oh, in
cabinets.
cabinets.
there were
Yeah.
cabinets,
Okay.
or we have at the gallery right now. We didn't bring it because it's really, really fragile, but we have that blue. We have that blue velvet photo album,
Yeah.
and it has their entire family.
I just
in
want to
that.
put a shout out to Lion Photographers on Hamilton Street in Saginaw, Michigan. If you're still out there, here we have your product here. All right,
Yeah.
Diana, we have to move on.
All right,
All right.
so-
So while you're doing that, I'll just keep flashing these here.
Well,
front.
Mom, thank you so much for making this special.
Oh, it's been a treat.
You're
It's
my
been a
biggest
treat.
fan.
Oh, thank you.
My cheerleader.
You are my biggest helper and love. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so
So,
much.
this will air on Sunday, so it gives you a whole week to come to the gallery before Mother's Day and
Yeah.
shop. So, DianaFineArt.com, you can sign up for the newsletter. You can scroll to the bottom and see our eBay store, the Shopify store, the Poshmark store. There's a YouTube button, and you can see this podcast or listen to the broadcast on Flagler on WNZF News Radio. We have the current estate sale is Cream and Serene. We're working with Sam Perkovic, is the realtor at 20 Elias Lane, and we'll be wrapping it up on Monday. Mother's Day, we're celebrating from now till Mother's Day. There's jewelry, vases, figurines, artwork, vintage handbags, hat pins, compacts, furs, gowns, all kinds of really, really fun and neat things if you're really looking for something special. The latest new arrival to the gallery is a Nicole Miller $2,000 dress. It is a gown. It's in cream, and it's a very small size. So if you're petite, you should come in and try it on. We're promoting the Singer and Songwriters Festival because we were fortunate enough to completely decorate the green room for the artists, and it's all set up in Americana. We worked with Heather Thompson of HT Productions and Gary Lubai, who was the founder of the festival. He was our guest 2 weeks ago. And I'm sure you guys are broadcasting that all weekend. And the following weekend is First Coast Opera. They were a guest a couple of weeks ago, and they are doing The Legend of Turandot. It's at the Romanza Festival on May 9th, a Friday at noon at the Memorial Presbyterian Chapel in St. Augustine. And then lastly, the EPC, which is the Estate Planners Council. Our next meeting is May 15th, and we're going to have Ann Hardick of Craig Flagler Palm Funeral Home talking about funeral pre-planning. So if you are a professional, you should join us. And I think that's really
Well,
it.
if I may say real quick, don't forget what we do is we assist people in a very difficult time in their life, whether you're downsizing or you're or you have a death in your family. What we do, what we provide, is that service to liquidate those assets of that particular person, and we do it in a very tasteful way. We honor them, and when we're done, we have a place to bring them. If in the event that the fine art, antiques, and collectibles become part of our gallery, we bring it there to continue its maybe shelf life. So one more time, Mom, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It was really good. And
Thank
I'm
you.
going to do another shout out to Smith photography. If you guys are still around up in Saginaw, Michigan.
Oh my
All
God.
right, on what's this, 208 Hamilton Street, Saginaw. If you're still in business, give us a call all right, at 386-237-3233. Ask for Diana. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Engineer, thank
See
you.
you next
Thank
week.
you.